Welcome to Week 5 of the Grilling Truth CFL Pick'em Show. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster. Right now I want to welcome in my co-hosts. First up, we got Brian Schmidt.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
All right, Austin Davis is here tonight.
Hi, good evening from still sunny Orange County, California.
And a special guest tonight, we've got former CFL Hall of Fame quarterback, Dieter Brock.
Thanks for having me on, Mike. I'm looking forward to this.
Well, thanks for being on. Oz, I know you wanted to start the show out with a question.
Yeah, I'm going to start right out. I got two professional coaches here, and I got to tell you, from my perspective, a lot of CFL fans this week especially are talking about coaches' challenges, especially on pass interference and defensive pass interference calls. Are there too many? A lot of fans think that there are. A lot of fans think that coaches are exploiting the challenge, to hope that the referees find something magical that we can't see in real time or whatnot. And there seem to be a disproportionate number of these challenges being called on pass interference and defensive pass interference. Are there too many? Are the coaches wrong for doing so, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? What's your take as professional coaches?
All right, well, let's let Dieter go first.
Okay. Well, I agree with you. I think of course, as a coach up there, you have to take advantage of what you're allowed to do. And there's been some calls that have helped some teams and some calls that haven't. And the only thing I can think, about this that is detrimental is the fact that it kind of slows the pace of the game, and that can hurt you.
All right, Brian.
Absolutely. I think it's way too much now from a coaching standpoint. You're going to take advantage of every situation, and you're going to take advantage of this. And the one thing about it, I'm going to throw that flag to hope I get a pass interference call, even when I darn well know there's probably not going to be one, just because if offensively the team, they're moving down the field, they got momentum, I'm going to throw that flag just to slow the game down and kill their momentum. And that's, from a fan standpoint, that's where it gets the flow of the game just gets chopped up way too much. But, from a coaching standpoint, I'm going to use it. But from a fan standpoint, it's horrible. It's very hard to watch sometimes.
I agree with Brian. And I know I've coached with Brian before. He will do anything he can to win, which I don't know if that's a good thing or not, Brian.
Well, so do you, but, we'll talk about that.
That's not true, and you know it, Brian. You're just trying to drag me down with you now. But, yeah, as a coach, you're going to do anything you can to win. If the other team's got momentum, you want to stop it. And like Brian said, it kills the momentum, the flow of the game. I think they need to look into doing something about it. That and the fact that fans, as fans, a lot of times you don't even know what you can challenge and what you can't challenge. And as we saw last week during two different games, a lot of times the coaches don't know.
Yes. Well, that's another story. Again, maybe they're just exploiting it for the time. But what do you do? I mean, fellow writer over there at thegrillingtruth.net, Joe Pritchard, thinks you should just get rid of all challenges altogether. I mean, is that a solution?
I don't think that's a solution. What do you think, Brian?
I don't think that's a solution either, but I think we've got to get back to something that makes more sense, because right now this is it gets out of hand. I know just from watching some of the games this weekend. I mean, there were just times where when the game stops to the point of literally 4 to 5 minutes, that's just too much. It makes it now very difficult for fans to watch a game. You start getting those 4 or 5 minute long drawn out deals. I mean, eventually you're going to have the clicker in your hand and you're going to start clicking.
Yeah, and my point is, Dieter, maybe you can address this a little bit also, but I think maybe you just take away the pass interference being reviewable, because when you slow down the pass interference, you're almost going to have some kind of contact all the time between those guys. And I like the way the NFL does it in this case, where you can't really challenge a pass interference call. I mean, what's your take on that, Dieter?
Well, I kind of agree with you. I think you can almost throw a flag on any pass play. It seems like because there's times where it could easily be pass interference or it could be offensive interference. So something's got to be done there. I think because that's where you have most of the problems with these with throwing the flags and the flow of the game. It happens in the passing game, and especially with offense or defensive pass interference.
All right, let's go ahead and let's review last week's game. Brian Schmidt was the big winner. He went 3-1. Myself, Robert Drummond, who couldn't be here tonight, had a prior engagement, and Os Davis all went 2-2. So I think, Brian, you're up a game for the entire season so far, too. You're in first place. I do know this, though. Os, I got a call, I think it was Saturday afternoon, by somebody bragging that they were about to go 4-0.
Yeah, but did they?
No,
did
they
have
didn't.
BC in that fourth game?
They didn't. But
Daggone BC. BC.
Yeah, and I thought at halftime that we were going to all get upset on the Saskatchewan BC game, right? But that fell apart quickly for all of us. So let's go ahead. We'll go to the first game of the week, which was the Ottawa Red Blacks, who stay undefeated with a 30-20 win over the Toronto Argonauts. Dieter, have you ever seen a quarterback as hot as Trevor Harris is right now?
I don't think I have, Mike. Trevor Harris has just been unbelievable. I mean, he's hitting, 83% of his passes and 9 touchdowns, only 1 interception. He's having, and they got some great receivers there in Ottawa also. So, and I think this was the only game that I picked right last week. If you guys want to know how I picked, but
well, maybe you need to be on every week with us then, Dieter.
Yeah. The only other one I should have probably picked was Edmonton over Winnipeg, but I was going with my heart and hoping Winnipeg would win that one. But anyway, going back to the Ottawa-Toronto game, Trevor Harris has just been unbelievable, and their offense is just outstanding.
All right, Brian, I know there's been a lot of talk about Ottawa's defense not being very good, but I think in the second half they showed how good they could be. Do you think Ottawa right now is hands down the best team in the CFL?
I think right now they are. They're the best team. They're the best team in the CFL. It's just based on what they're doing offensively. I mean, yeah, they had a good good second half defensively, but this is a machine offensively right now. You've got a quarterback that is just playing unbelievable. Their receivers, everything about them, and defensively they don't have to do much. They just have to do enough because offensively this is a team that's going to score points and going to score a lot of points.
All right, now my big question on the Toronto side, they get the new field. They're now 0-2 on it. The crowd at BMOB Field, Os, what's your take on the crowd or lack thereof? Wednesday night game's a bad idea, I think.
You got to wonder at this point if football in Toronto is a bad idea. This question is huge. This question is huge. Last year, before the season, they were talking about failure of CFL football in Toronto. And if the Toronto Argonauts go down, the league goes down. Okay? Now they've got the new stadium. Ostensibly, they've got the nice PR machine running to publicize the team and whatnot. But this is a team that's still being outdrawn by Toronto FC. Okay? This is a soccer team in basically what is a second or third-rate soccer league, Major League Soccer. This is not high-quality soccer. Those guys are drawing more fans. And, of course, you've got the Maple Leafs and the Blue Jays and even to some extent the Raptors just casting this huge shadow over the Toronto sports landscape. It's such a huge, huge, huge question. And the thing is, this Toronto team looks pretty good this year. They're going to contend. They're going to host the Grey Cup, and they might be in it. But I don't know if anything can draw fans to this stadium, much less drawing fans with the way that the PR is going right now, which is to say they're getting smoked. They're getting smoked by every other sports team in town, and there's a lot in that town. You know?
All right,
so
we'll go on. So we'll go on to the next game. The Edmonton Eskimos beat the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 20-16. Mike Riley threw for over 450 yards, 2 touchdowns. They came from behind against Winnipeg. We'll start off with Dieter because I know this was near and dear to your heart. Give us your take on the Blue Bombers game last week.
Well, like I said, I was going with my heart last week, hoping that Winnipeg would pull this one out. But Winnipeg, and I'm not blaming Drew Willie on this. I feel like that they've got to take more chances throwing the ball downfield. I think they throw. I mean, Drew's hitting 72% of his passes, but a lot of these are little swing and screen passes and throwing the ball to the backs. And maybe they don't have the right receiving or a good enough receiving core. But I think Drew Willie is a good quarterback. I think with some more talented receivers around him, I think he'd be much better. And with the opportunity to throw the ball downfield, I think they'd have a chance to score more points. But right now, they're not doing that for whatever reason, and then they're struggling.
Can I just jump in here? Can I just jump in here and ask about Drew Willie? Because there's a knock going around in the Winnipeg media that's complaining that Willie is not exuding that confidence he did. I mean, in 2014, this guy started 5-1 as a starter in Winnipeg. You know, and people fell in love with him, of course. You know, this guy was the savior of Winnipeg football in the short term. But now the complaint is that he's lost his confidence. So I have kind of a multifaceted question. Do you see this happening with Drew Willie? Does this happen often to quarterbacks? And if so, you know, can anything be done?
Well, I think, you know, I think initially, you know, Drew Willie, you know, started off well, but I think he got hurt, and he's had a lot of sacks and had a lot of pressure, and this is, you know, this is probably hurt. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But I think that he's a good quarterback. I'm not blaming Drew Willie on this Winnipeg downfall right now. I think they don't have they may not have the right good enough receiving core. And maybe they're not taking enough chances of throwing the ball downfield and getting bigger chunks of yardage, which, you know, gives them, you don't have to, you know, hit every pass, you know, to keep drives going. You know, you gotta make some big plays in the CFL, and you know, to be able to score points. And they're not doing that. And I'm not sure I'm blaming this all on Drew Willie. His confidence may be hurt a little bit, but I think there's a lot more to this than just Drew Willie.
All right, so Brian, my question to you is the Edmonton Eskimos. I mean, right now I think they're 2-1, but they really haven't played that great yet. Do you see them as a team that's really going to start to gel and come on as we go later into the season? Because I do, especially with Mike Riley at quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. They're going to continue to get better. You know, a lot like last year. You know, they were playing lights out football at the end, and that's what you want. You want to get better every week. You want to be playing your best football, you know, as you get towards the end of the season and get into the playoffs. And you know, again, we've talked a lot about Trevor Harris, but I mean, you got to look at Mike Riley and what he's done as well. I mean, this guy has been. Again, a machine. As good as he was playing at the end of last year and in the Grey Cup, I mean, he is been even better to start the year. And this is a guy that, you know, now, you know, you start taking the comparison. You start looking at it. You know, you look at him and you start saying he's a CFL version of Tom Brady. Just plays well every week, and you know, just seemingly seems like he's getting better every week. I just think
except he's not like Brady because he's got 2 of the top 5 receivers in the league right now.
Yeah,
Brady rarely has that. You know, he's got Bowman and Walker out there.
This guy is just playing lights out, and yeah, I think you're going to see them get better every week.
All right, let's move on to a game that I've been waiting to hear Oz pontificate on. The Hamilton Tiger Cats 31, Oz's Montreal Alouettes 7. Oz, you want to explain this game? Because it was like the worst first half of football I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my God, 5-4. 5-4, and then you take that team that you held to 5 points and you give up 26 to them in the second half. You roll over in the second half. I mean, look, I don't think anybody outside of the patently deluded thought that the Alouettes were going to win this game. We're missing our running back. Three of the top receivers are out of the game. But then on top of this, and you coach gentlemen can weigh in on this. On top of this, just the general incompetence of Pop in this game just ruined any chance for hope, on the part of Alouettes fans. I mean, the showboating on the unchallengeable play was bad enough, but just, stuff like giving Deron Carter 3 targets, until garbage time kicked in and then nobody cared anymore. Stuff like this. Your only viable receiver paying no attention to him. Somehow the Alouettes have the ball in this game for 34 minutes and can do absolutely nothing with it on the offense. I mean, how is that even possible? And then your defense, of course, we were talking about this a few weeks ago. There comes a point where defenses get demoralized when they realize they're playing with an offense that can't do anything. This Alouettes defense has a lot of talent out there, but you see them, you see the body language, and it's just like, oh my God, do we have to be here? It doesn't matter what we do if we get the 2 and out, because we're going to go 2 and out on offense. It's just total disappointment all around. And it's not like I realize that we're shorthanded, but there's no reason to give up 8 sacks, for example. There's just this. I don't want to say this team has quit because I don't understand psychology of the team and all that, but you wouldn't blame them if they did at this point.
All right, now my favorite part of watching the Hamilton Tiger Cats is Brandon Banks. I mean, Dieter, how many guys have you seen that can just change a game just at a snap of a finger like Brandon Banks can?
Well, this guy is just amazing. I mean, every time that he touches the ball, you think he's got a chance to score, and he really does. I mean, he is unbelievable. And there's been a few guys in the CFL that have been great kick and punt returners, but this guy may be the best that I've seen.
Yeah, the guy I think has like Pinball Clemens, guys like that.
Mm-hmm.
But, he seems to be, he's just a bigger version of him, too. Brian, where do you think we stand with Zach Collaros coming back? Do you think that's going to be sooner rather than later?
Boy, they got to be hoping it's going to be sooner rather than later. They are a team that needs him at quarterback. Obviously, it's I would love to see him back this week. We'll talk more about the game coming up this week, but I would love to see him back this week.
Because Masoli was still, Masoli's numbers were not great. He was 19-27, 208 yards, no touchdowns, and an interception.
Yeah, this Mike, this is the reason that I picked Montreal last week is because I thought their defense was playing well, but also I can't trust Masoli. There's times when he can do outstanding things, but then there's some times when he'll cost you a game. And this is why I picked Montreal last week over Hamilton. Of course, Hamilton won the game, but Hamilton needs Collaros back. And if Collaros comes back, Hamilton will be the team to beat.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. And I think if they just don't kick the ball to Brandon Banks, that game may have went down to the wire, a 7-5 or 8-7 game. Mm-hmm. Because I think that changed the entire complexion of the game immediately when it happened.
Yeah.
All right, that'll bring us to the BC Lions and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The Roughriders were up 2 touchdowns at the half. But the big thing is this. We talked in the past. BC might be the best defensive team in the CFL, but offensively they haven't really done anything. But finally, you had Jonathan Jennings come out, 25 passes for a career-high 429 yards, 3 touchdowns. Lions down Saskatchewan 40-27. So do you think, Oz, that this is the beginning of BC being dominant offensively and defensively?
How about it? Yeah, what I really liked from the BC Lions defense in this game is, okay, so Elamimian is back. He's been back for a couple of weeks. He's been back up to full health. And, Adam Big Hill just continues to be the monster there in the middle. But I liked how the other guys contributed. I like how this team was a package this week on defense. Really nice pressure throughout, just really nice coverage. Everybody getting in on the action. I really enjoyed watching this defense this week. And yeah. I mean, now BC is in the talk for best receiving corps, I think, in the league after this game. I mean, wow. You just take a look. You got Gore and Moore. They're both scoring touchdowns. You've got Burnham, who all of a sudden, is a fantasy pick of the week in fantasy or in daily fantasy. And we haven't even talked about Manny Arsenault, who's, top 5 receiver in the CFL right now. I mean, that's quite a core all of a sudden. This team's got it all. I mean, I'm really regretting my underestimation of them at the beginning of the season. Great, nice-looking team. If the Red Blacks are the class of the CFL, the Lions aren't far behind, right?
Yeah, plus you throw in a running game. I mean, you had Anthony Allen, 11 carries, 61 yards. I mean, offensive line played well. But on the other side, you got Saskatchewan. Darian Durant goes down again. Mitchell Gale comes in, plays well, but what's your take on Saskatchewan's problems, Dieter? Because I think they're a team that's better than their record, but, I mean, the question is, even if Durant comes back right away, is the next hit, is he out again?
Well, I think they do need Durant back to have a chance here. Now, was it Mitchell Gale? He didn't play badly, but I just think that Saskatchewan's going to be much better with Durant back in. I don't know how serious his injury was, but I don't think they're as bad as their record, 0-3, but they got a tough one this week. I mean, we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yep.
Okay, Brian, what was your take on this game?
Well, my first take is they ruined my 4-0 week, so pretty upset about that. It's funny, a week ago we were talking about a quarterback controversy in BC, and at least for 1 week, I think they stopped that conversation. What a great game from a quarterback standpoint, and defensively, I mean, this is still a very good defense, and we talked about last week, we talked about the week before, if they ever can get anything out of this offense, you're looking at a team that, is definitely a contender. And, at least for 1 week, I think we've seen what can happen when they put all phases of the game together. That was pretty impressive.
All right, so we will go to our picks for this week coming up, and we will start off, we'll let Dieter pick the first one, because, of course, the first game of the week is Calgary at Winnipeg.
Okay. I went with a heart last week, but I don't know if I can do that this week here now.
Yeah, now there's people listening. You're not just talking to yourself when you pick them.
Yeah, exactly. Calgary is they got one of the better quarterbacks in the league, Bo Levi Mitchell, and they got a great running back also in Messam, who's got 185 yards rushing here in 3 games. And he looks awesome at times. So, and Calgary's defense is playing pretty good also at this point. I've got to go with Calgary on this one. I'm hoping Winnipeg will do better than they have been, but I can't see it happening this week.
All right, Oz.
Calgary is 1-1-1, but they look awesome on paper. I get the feeling that this is about the time when the Stamps blow up. They got Winnipeg this week. Within the next 4 games after that, they've got Saskatchewan twice, and they've got the Ticats at home as well, and I think they got BC Lions in there. So I think the Stamps are about ready to blow up. I think that they're going to start this week. I think this one's not even going to be close. I think Calgary walks in this one.
All right, Brian?
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think, Calgary definitely is going to take this one. And I really feel like, I kind of agree that, Calgary is one of those teams, a very dangerous team. And this is a team that, won 1-1 right now. But, I mean, let's be honest. This is a team that gets on a roll. We're going to definitely see some good things out of them. So I think this is what gets them started, and I think they win this game pretty easily.
Yeah, I think the big difference here is Calgary's pass rush. They're averaging almost 3 sacks a game. I don't think Winnipeg's offensive line is anything great. Plus, you throw in Bo Levi Mitchell, Messam at running back, McDaniel at wide receiver. I think Calgary wins this game fairly handily also. But that'll bring us to the second game of the week coming up. That would be Ottawa at Saskatchewan. Brian?
Oh, how can you not pick Ottawa? What they're doing right now offensively is amazing, and Trevor Harris and those receivers. Is there a team in the CFL that can defend them? I think that's going to now become the question week by week. I think Ottawa is going to win this one, and I think they're going to win this one. At least a couple scores. So I don't think it's going to be a close game.
All right, Dieter?
I'm going to have to agree. I think Ottawa is looking too good offensively right now with their passing game, and Harris is having a great year, and they got some great receivers. And I'm not sure about Durant, whether he's going to be back or not. I don't think it'll really matter. I've got to go with Ottawa on this one.
Yeah, I think it could matter if he could come back and be completely healthy. But with the sprained ankle, we know he's not going to be completely healthy. Chris Williams catching the ball, Trevor Harris throwing the ball. I think I'm going to agree with all you guys and go with Saskatchewan. Austin, did we get your pick on this one yet?
No, but I'll tell you what, even if Durant does come back, the Rough Riders have way more problems than that. They piled up the bodies after this game. I'll tell you who's not going to play this week besides Durant is Justin Cox at defensive back. They're also probably not going to suit up either Chambers or Childs as receivers, and Matt Walter at running back is likely to miss this game as well. I mean, as though Saskatchewan doesn't have enough problems as it is, they've got all these injuries as well. You have to take the Red Blacks, but I will say this, the Riders get Montreal next week. So that could be win number one.
There you go. All right, that brings us to Hamilton at Edmonton. I guess I'll start us off. I mean, I'm going with Mike Riley over Jeremiah Massouli. But if Zach Collaros was back, I still would probably go with Edmonton, but it would worry me a little bit more doing it. But Dieter, Edmonton.
Yeah, I think Mike Riley is not only playing great. I think it's his toughness that really shows his leadership as much as anything, and he's playing super, and he did last year. And as I said before, Massouli, I just can't trust him, and I don't think it matters that much anyway when they're playing in Edmonton. I think if Collaros was back, this might be a different story. It'd be a hell of a game, but I've got to go with Edmonton and what they've done so far this year. And Hamilton, I just don't think it's going to. I think this could be a blowout.
All right, Oz.
If Dieter hit the nail on the head here, if Collaros were back, this would be a heck of a game. This would be a shootout because these are two of the sketchier secondaries in the league here, and I think that, of course, Riley is well more poised to take advantage of that than Mr. Massouli. So yeah, you've got to like the Eskimos in this one. Oh, and by the way, I wanted to throw this one in there too. Zach Collaros. No rumors are solid yet, but the word is that he's not going to play this week. He's going to play against Winnipeg, which will be after the bye next week.
All right, Brian?
You have to go Edmonton on this one. I think just the the way they are rolling offensively, and I think they're going to put points up. Again, as everybody has said, if Zach was playing, maybe it changes. It's definitely going to be a great game, but the way it stands now, I think Edmonton win this game, and I think they're going to walk away with this one.
Yeah.
All right. We go Montreal at Toronto. So let's see if Oz will be a homer this week.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. I think that there's little reason to choose Montreal here. In fact, the only reason I could find to go against Toronto in this game is that they're the home team. But I got to
go. But the two games they lost to teams that were at least respectable. I mean, of course, I guess Hamilton's not that great, though, if you look at it now, but they will be when Collaros comes back.
Yeah. No, Hamilton is not at the top of their game right now. The only question I have is how many quarterbacks the Alouettes are going to end up playing in this game. I think I'm taking the over on an over-under of 2.5.
So is there any chance Kevin Glenn plays in this game?
Well, apparently the only problem he had last week was pink eye, otherwise known as an infection of the eye. So, I mean, this thing usually clears up in a week. I mean, he could play. Otherwise, it's going to be the Rakeem Cato low energy show again. I'm obviously hoping that's not the case as a fan, but I think Glenn should start. Why not?
All right, we go Brian, Montreal at Toronto.
If Montreal's quarterback situation was just a little better, I mean, they've got a lot of problems, but I want to pick them for this one, but I tell you got to go with Toronto. I think, Toronto is just way better football team, but, I want to pick the upset badly, but I got to go with Toronto.
Me too, but just can't.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go with Toronto. I would like to pick Montreal. Maybe if Kevin Glenn was playing, I would, but no, I wouldn't because Montreal just doesn't look very good right now, no matter who's playing quarterback. But, Dieter, Montreal at Toronto.
Yeah, well, this one here, last week I picked Montreal to beat Hamilton, which didn't happen, but I still think Montreal's got a pretty good defense. But Ricky Wade, he's playing well. He's thrown like 6 touchdowns, only 1 interception. I think they're getting better offensively, and I see Toronto winning this game. I don't think Montreal's offense is very good at all right now, no matter who plays quarterback. And so I will take Toronto on this one.
All right. Well, hey, Dieter, it was great having you on the show, and if you want to come back every week, you can.
I'd love to. It's been fun. I would certainly love to do that.
Okay, the only thing is we would have to move it back about a half hour starting next week because my son's football practice because I coach his high school team.
That's all right.
So it'll be like 9:30. So, all right. So, Dieter, you got any final words for us tonight?
No, this week, I don't know. I mean, you and all of us agreed, I think, on all the games. So I don't know. There could be an upset.
Everybody's winning this week.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. I do think that I know I picked Calgary over Winnipeg, but I do think Winnipeg will play well. I just don't think they're going to play well enough to win the game, but I do think they'll play an inspired game there. But it's going to be a tough one for them.
Well, I don't think you can question how hard Winnipeg plays. It's just the execution and how smart they're playing.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, defensively they got to do much better than they did last week. And I think, Drew Willie's got to step up. I think they need the running game going a little bit, but in this league, you got to be able to throw the football to win games.
Winnipeg is killing on special teams. All their points basically were due to fine special teams play in this game, but unfortunately that's not enough.
No.
No. It's not like it's all bad in Winnipeg. I mean, it's not Montreal. There is something happening there. It's just way not enough.
Right. Like I said, I don't know if they got a good enough receiving core right now. I think they've had some injuries there. But they've got to be able to throw the ball downfield and make some big plays in the passing game that way.
Well, and you got to be able to protect the quarterback.
Yes, definitely.
This would help.
Definitely got to do that.
Which may be a reason why they're not trying to throw the ball down the field too much. Maybe they don't have much confidence he can stand up long enough to get it down there.
Well, he's had some injuries, and that's another thing. I mean, Winnipeg, Drew Willie's got to prove that he can stay in there, game in and game out. And that's been a problem that he's had. He was injured last year. He's got to show that he can stay in a game and continue playing. And, the injury bug has been a problem for him, and he's got to overcome that.
All right. Now, Brian, before we get to your final words, I want to bring up the fact that we will have a CFL Legends show Thursday. We will have former Hamilton Tiger Cat coach, won 2 CFL Coach of the Years, won 2 Grey Cups. John Gregory will be on our show Thursday. And Dieter, John Gregory said to tell you hi.
You tell him I said hello.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy, but he said you had the biggest arm he's ever coached with or against. So, Brian, final words?
Well, this is going to be an interesting week of questions. The first question is the over/under. Will Toronto draw more or less than 25,000 fans? What's the over/under on that? I would like to watch a Montreal game that doesn't make me feel like I'm watching paint dry. I'm looking forward to, I'm looking forward to watching Ottawa. I'm looking forward to watching Edmonton. When you got quarterbacks that are playing like that, it's fun to watch. And I'm looking forward to going 4-0 this week on my picks. The only problem is everybody else will too if I do. So.
Yeah. So my bet is if you're 3-0, you're not going to call me to brag that you might be 4-0 when the week's over.
Yeah, probably not.
If I could just say me too.
Yeah, there's no reason to call you at that point. So
all I want to know is I'm starting fresh this week, right?
Yeah,
you're
starting.
I don't
fresh.
count my last week's picks.
Well, this is the thing, Dieter. Outside of last week was the first week where one of us was above 500, I think, and that was Brian's 3-1. So actually, you could start at 0 and only probably be 5 or 6 games back. But all right, off. Final words.
Not much to say. I'm hoping that we eventually figure out the home team conundrum here in the CFL this season. I would say, in addition to Ottawa and Edmonton, worth checking out is definitely the Calgary Stampeders. I think they're going to do nice things for the next few weeks. These are, in my opinion, the 3 teams to watch. So we don't have to focus on Montreal and Winnipeg and teams like this.
Well, don't forget when Claris come back, Hamilton will be right in the picture here.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. They were something to see right about the middle of last season when they were beating teams by an average of 41-14 there for about 5 weeks. That was something to see. So I'd like to see that again. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, and I think they're a good defensive team, and I think right now they look like an average defensive team, but a lot of that is just the 2-and-outs and the turnovers. So, All right, so one thing you'll learn there, Dieter, if you're going to be on the show every week, is Oz, even when he has nothing to say, it'll take him 2.5 minutes to say it.
Well, guys, I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
Yep, guys, make sure you check us out next week. I guess Dieter will be back every week. Check out all of our shows on iHeart, TuneIn, iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, Google Music, wherever you find any kind of podcast, you'll find The Grueling Truth. Make sure you check out the CFL Legends show Thursday afternoon with former 2-time Grey Cup winning head coach John Gregory. So for Oz Davis, Brian Schmidt, Dieter Brock, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.